Hello. Hi, everybody. Sorry for being a couple minutes late. I'm Jamie. This is Marni. I'm going to introduce Marni in a second, but I just want to give a little bit more time for everybody to get on because sometimes it takes people a few minutes. But we've got lots of stuff to talk about today. Marni is going to tell us about some cool projects that she's worked on. Marni is in New York City. No, New Jersey right now.
Right now, I'm in New Jersey. Yeah.
New Jersey. I'm outside of the Toronto area. Like I said, welcome. We're going to get started in a second. I see more people are coming on. Come say hello in the chat box at the bottom of your screen or somewhere on your screen. You should see a chat button. Click that and then come say hello. Tell us your name, where you're from, if this is your first time coming to one of our classes or if you've been here before. We'll get started in a second. Like I said, again, I'm Jamie. This is Marni.
Hello.
Hello. More people coming on. Come say hello in the chat. Maybe I should message you guys in there. Hello. Come say hi over here. Mari, did I say that right? This is my first time. Welcome. Mari. Where are you from, Mari? Tell us where you're from, everybody. New York City. Columbus, Ohio. Doug, I know you. I think this is not your first time. Welcome. Hello, Nikki. Hey, Ken from Atlanta. First time. Woohoo. More New York. From South America, Damien. That's amazing. First time. Angela from Columbus, Ohio. Okay, so we've got 2 Columbus, Ohio, 2 New York, Atlanta, and South America. I freaking love when people are on here from outside of North America. It's just, the internet is a really cool place. Okay, so like I said, we're gonna get started. Keep saying hello. I wanna see who's all here. More people are coming on board. So today, we make sure you take notes also. Get out your notepad and take some notes. Today's gonna be a little bit different than what we've done in the past. Marni is gonna talk about 3, if we can make it to all 3, cool projects that she's worked on in the past decade or longer. They're all about the marketing promotions and partnerships that Marni has worked on. So Marni, first of all, everybody say hello to Marni. We met 2 years ago when a bunch of us went down to New York City to meet all of the industry people that worked in New York, and asked her to come on this call, and I'm super excited to have her today. She's worked on some amazing things. She started what's her own media company called Sneak Attack Media like 12 years ago, right? Yep. And then just a couple months ago, she merged, is that the right word, with the Syndicate. I don't know if you guys have heard of the Syndicate. Maybe you New York people have. But they have worked with some really amazing artists. Marni's going to talk about a project she worked on with Third Eye Blind and some other artists. And now with the Syndicate, they've worked with really cool artists like The Killers and Arctic Monkeys and even Amy Schumer and some comedians and stuff. So, but Marni's going to talk about these cool projects with Crosley, Third Eye Blind, and Twin Peaks. And Damn Good Coffee today. Mm-hmm. And then we're going to do a Q&A. So at the bottom of your screen, again, there's a little button that says Q&A if you want to tap on that and submit your questions through there. And then we also had some questions submitted in advance. So we'll go over those as well. And Marni's a very busy girl, so we're going to try and fly through this today. And hope y'all love it. Okay, so again, I see that more people are still coming on quickly. I'm Jamie. This is Marni from the Syndicate, aka Sneak Attack Media. Okay, so why don't we just jump right in, tell them anything that I forgot to tell them about yourself and what you're doing.
Cool. Yeah. So like Jamie said, hi guys. It's good to see you all from all over. So yeah, like Jamie said, I started Sneak Attack Media, which was a digital marketing and promotions company about 12 years ago in 2006, back when digital marketing was called new media. It's not called, it's just called marketing now. Yeah. So So we went through, as you can imagine, a ton of changes over the decade plus that we were doing our thing. Numerous incarnations of the services that we provided, and thousands of clients that we had the pleasure of working with. And then late last year in October, Sneak Attack was acquired by the Syndicate, which is an entertainment marketing company here in the New York area. Our offices are in Weehawken, New Jersey, which is just outside of the city. It's really close to Hoboken, if any of y'all know that. And they have an incredible team that now we are a part of. We do PR, we do radio, we do street marketing and event activations, and now we are the digital marketing department. And I will get into what that means today with you guys.
Perfect. Okay, so do you want to just dive right into these projects and tell everybody?
Yeah.
Okay, so Marni's told me a couple of cool projects that she's worked on, and I thought maybe we could start with her telling us about the Third Eye Blind 20th anniversary project that she worked on. They teamed up with the band to build an interactive version of the room where you just might have to listen to it. Might have listened to it in 1997. Sorry, okay.
You have to listen to it. Yeah, so what we did was, if you guys are familiar with the band Third Eye Blind, they released their debut album 20 years ago, 2 years ago, so 20 years ago, 2017, was when we were working on this project. We'd worked with Third Eye Blind for years and years at that point, and they had hired us to work on the time frame that they were. A lot of times we're hired to work on a specific project. Sometimes we're hired to work on like a time frame. So it could be, we're launching this thing and then we're doing a tour and then we're doing this other thing. We want you on for the whole thing. So that was kind of one of these projects. They were doing a tour, but they were also re-releasing their debut record. They had initially released in I almost said 2000, but 1999. So whole century ago. So that was their 20th year anniversary of the debut record, which had a massive amount of hits on it. And so we created a digital room. This is sort of like the oddball ideas that we sometimes have that sort of don't fit into any sort of digital marketing bucket, but this is sort of like the digital activation side of what we do. We created a little digital room that sort of looks like the room that you might have been in when you were first listening to this record. So it could have been your high school room, it could have been a college dorm room, something like that. And I'm going to try to share my screen with you guys and see if this works. Let's see. Does that work? Can you guys see that?
Oh yeah. Oh my God. That's so cool.
All right, cool. So what you're not seeing is, what you are seeing is my copious amount of Google Chrome tabs that I have.
Lord. How do you have that many browsers?
It's ridiculous. I know what all of them do. I don't have time to close them. But so basically what you're not seeing is that the intro to this was an AIM, AOL Instant Messenger chat box kind of thing that introduced you to this. And just as it happened, December of the year that we did this, they shut down the AIM chat function messenger. So it's sad. But so what this room is, it's interactive. As you can see, as I hover around, things happen. And we kind of created this to be an interactive room. It's integrated with Spotify's API. So you click on, I forgot, but I think it's this. Oh, sweet. Okay. And it plays the 20th anniversary edition of the record straight from Spotify. So if you stream it from here, all of these streams count towards their Spotify streams, which is cool.
Crazy.
And then what we did was, there's little things like these lights light up when you hover over them. And actually, if you look at this is thirdeye-blind-anniversary.com. If you look at this after like 6 p.m. your time, it's all dark and the outside is dark and these lights are bright, and it's really cool.
That's so awesome.
It was really fun to do. So let me actually show you. So the videos, all of the videos that were made of the singles on this album all stream inside this little TV here. This record, this is actually the new issue of the record. That's not what the record looked like when it came out. It was red. But here you could enter to win vinyl. It's not an active contest now because it's over, but that's kind of a little Easter egg there. And then there's all these things around. So we have this actually, little snippets from the songs that were on that record. So this is
Cool.
here, so it's Graduate, and then we had a little guitar solo.
The clock it plays for you, but you never got the timing right.
So just some little things throughout the room that sort of lyrics that represent the items in the room.
That's so awesome. Is anyone here a Third Eye Blind fan, or do you know who they are? Type it in the chat box if you are. If you're a fan, say fan. Nintendo 64.
Nintendo 64, totally. Yeah, actually, if you click this,
Oh my
a
God.
little
is a
Mortal
cool
Kombat
thing.
snippet, just enough so we could legally do it.
Yeah. So, okay, I have a question. How pricey is this?
Oh, well, that really depends on how long we have to do it and what's involved. So, I mean, these things are always custom. These are really hard to say. Like, we never charge like a standard price for this.
Right.
I cannot remember how much this cost. We had a designer and a developer kind of build all of these things out, and then we conceptualized it all, and we did it pretty quickly. So yeah, obviously for these things, the more time that we have, the better. But yeah, those are really fun to do. Those are my favorites.
Doug here says he's worked a few shows with them.
Nice, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, they're about to go on another tour, so that's cool.
So do they have a label, or are they independent now, and did they just subcontract your company?
They well, that record, the reissue, came out on Rhino, who we work with a lot. But they are currently they have their own label. So that would be a project where the band hires us directly.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Which happens a lot these days.
Yeah. So how did you get this particular website and project? How did you get the word out? I see that it was talked about far and wide on social media and got really good press. How did you get the word out about this?
We actually, so it ended up being that we kind of, it sort of leaked out with some fans. So they have a lot of fan sites and fan social media accounts. So people that are like hardcore fans that will tweet out information, when they first hear about it. So all the news kind of funnels through them in some ways, and in some way. And one of the fan Twitter accounts was the first one to announce this, and it just kind of went crazy from there. And then we did some, we sent it around to some people, obviously, to let them know, key people that we thought would enjoy it and want to kind of play around with it and share it. We made it shareable as well. But yeah, it was kind of an organic send off, and obviously the band, posted about it. But the fan tweet, I think, actually happened before we posted it on the band's socials. So it kind of ended up happening organically, where somebody, kind of like found it and, put it out. Yeah.
Maybe they had like Google, what do you call that when you set up the Google Alerts?
Yeah. I can't remember how we did that. I don't remember.
For someone to know that correctly, that's crazy.
Yeah, this wasn't even that long ago. It was 2 years ago, so I should work on my memory. But yeah. Really
but maybe that's a whole other discussion about super fans and getting super fans and how to, because that's for fans to do that and go and create their own Instagram accounts and create their own Twitter accounts.
Yeah.
Does anyone here have super fan accounts where they go and create their own accounts? You can type that in there. Maybe we can talk about that today. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a very hot topic of conversation with, I think, a lot of different schools of music marketing, because, and even consumer marketing, when you're talking about anything, you have a few, whether you call them super fans or brand ambassadors or whatever, and, you're super serving those audience members, those consumers, and, they're really kind of helping you do your marketing for you in a very organic way. And I think that speaks to, even for developing artists, when you have, those people that come to every single one of your shows, I kind of tend to look at marketing to fans as these concentric circles. So you have your super fans, or maybe they're your hardcore fans from the very beginning, and then you have the people that they tell and the people that they tell, and da-da-da. And, you know, I think it's always really important to remember to super serve those core fans, because they'll stick with you. You know, give them teasers of stuff first, ask for what they want to hear, engage them in your content, respond to their comments on social media, but it really goes very far.
Yeah. Almost like treat them like media, whereas normally you'd go to media first, like a blog or a TV or something, give them information first, and then they put it out to the public. But you could almost do that with your super fans.
Yeah,
treat them kind of like you would with media.
Definitely.
Yeah. And that's how you build organic growth. It takes time, obviously, because all your super fans don't have platforms like media does, but I think it's the best way.
But it's a focus. I mean, you know, and this is a band that's been around for 20 plus years. So obviously that their super fans are going to be a lot different, and they've had like massive platforms to release their music through, commercial radio and major labels and all that. But, you know, even when you have artists that are newer, or, you know, just sort of strike a chord with a specific community, I think that's where, you know, just the general topic of marketing to a specific core demographic is very important to remember. I think a lot of people, when I ask them what their music is and who it's for, they say, oh, it's for everyone. And I'm like, is it for everyone? Is anything for anyone? Because if you're marketing something to everyone, then you're probably actually marketing it to no one. And, you know, there's no kind of thing. Like, what's your thing is what I constantly fight to.
And even people who think they're marketing to everyone, maybe you are over time, but it's so much better and easier if you start with like a tiny little group of people. Right. And then eventually over time, you become so famous in that tiny little group of people that it grows to everyone else.
Right. It has to. It's kind of goes out of a scene or something. You've sort of saturated that little market. That's
exactly
best case scenario, you know?
Yeah. Like UGG, for example, they blew up over the world with everyone, but they started in this tiny little market for, I think it was surfer people. They marketed specifically to surfer people, and then it blew up to everybody. Anyway, random side topic.
It's the same thing with everything. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so is there anything else you want to say about that particular project?
I mean, that microsite was kind of part of the overall project that we did with them. We also kind of, you know, did their social media strategy, did a lot of different other types of cross-promotional platform partnerships and things like that. We helped them get the most out of different digital platforms that we were working with at the time, everything from Spotify to Bands in Town and things like that. So that's how we tend to kind of look at projects, even for larger artists, is doing all of these different things and then kind of activating them at strategic times. What's going on. Right.
And that actually also brings up another operational point, is to keep track of your anniversary dates in a calendar and have them repeat every year. Because I've actually worked for a lot of artists and a lot of companies that don't even know that this song came out 10 years ago. And then all of a sudden it will be like a month before. Right. And I've like checked a date on something and I'm like, holy shit, it's a 10-year anniversary next month. So I think if you actually get somebody, or you do it yourself, to go through all of your artist dates of whatever it is, and so you can keep track of anniversaries, and then you can partner with people like Marni who come up with really cool marketing plans and have fun with it instead of just being like, oh, happy anniversary.
Yeah, it's definitely, I mean, people are always looking for content to post on socials and things to put out, and what do I create content around? And you're right, anniversaries are a great thing. I mean, it could be, you know, the anniversary of you going to a certain market or something like that. It could be anything, you know, look at
anything that matters to you.
Yeah, exactly.
Or that mattered to you on that day. Yeah.
Band members' birthdays, you know, anything that you think is kind of cool.
Yeah, birthdays. People want to know when people's birthdays are. Even people in the band that aren't always in the band. Or like session musicians or whatever. That's good content, I think.
It's all good content. As long as you make it relevant and interesting, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, why don't we talk about is it Sc Mira?
Sc Mira, yeah.
Sc Mira and Crosley?
Crosley, yeah. So Sc Mira, they're a band out of Winnipeg. Canada. Yeah.
Is anyone here from Canada?
No one?
Me, Kieran.
Come
Woohoo!
on out. Awesome. Cool.
Leslie raised her hand. Cool.
Nice.
I don't know how you do that. But
Edmonton.
Edmonton, what's up?
Nice. Awesome.
Cool.
Cool. So this is, yeah, they're an awesome band. We were hired to work on their EP. They had an EP that was coming out with 3 songs, and they have another EP that was going to come out the following spring. And they were making videos for each song on the EP, which in itself is cool because, you know, content, obviously, you know, visual content is super important these days, but there's just so many platforms that need you to be putting content on them. And obviously making visual content out of the songs that you've spent so much time and energy making is, you know, very important. So they made 3 live videos. They shot them in a really cool space. They came out beautifully. And we had the idea to partner with a brand to present the videos so that we could hit a new market with this band. Because that's, you know, that's the problem we're trying to solve, or the challenge that we're trying to solve with a lot of our clients is, I know who my fans are. I'm talking to my fans already. I need new fans. How do you get me new fans? So we work a lot with a company called Crosley Radio, which is a turntable company. And does anyone here have a Crosley turntable?
I've been wanting to buy one.
They're really cool, and they have the speakers in them, so they usually come in like a little closable case, like a suitcase, so you can carry them. I don't know how often you're gonna travel with your turntable, but you can.
It looks cool either way.
It's really cool, yeah. They have towels all the time now and stuff. It's really cool. So we work a lot with them. They're one of the brands that we work a lot with, and obviously there's crossover into the music space because it's a player for music. Sc Mira did have vinyl that they released the records, their EPs on vinyl. So we presented this opportunity to the brand, and we mapped out, you know, exactly what we wanted to do and how the band was going to cross promote it. And what we ended up doing was having Crosley officially present these 3 videos, and then we did the same thing for the next 3 videos. So we did like a continuation. So in all, they ended up presenting 6 videos, doing an interview with the band on their blog, on their website, where they featured it, you know, prominently on the homepage for a bit, and then posted it on all of their socials, cross-posted all the videos. And it was really cool. It was just really neat to reach an entirely new audience that probably, you know, they probably hadn't ever heard of this band. And could enter to win a branded turntable with the vinyl. And yeah, that in itself was pretty cool, you know, being able to win a turntable, but then branded as this band that maybe you were the only one of your friends that knew about them, you know. So there were a lot of different layers to this, but the underlying idea was to just expose the music of the band to a totally new fan base who obviously already loved music. Yeah.
How would you say you went about getting that brand partnership?
Well, we already had the relationship with the brand, and we knew that the band had the record available on vinyl. So that was kind of maybe our first idea of like, hey, why don't we approach Crosley and see if they would be interested in doing this? And then we had a couple of other ideas too in the fashion space and some other brands that we had in mind, but it ended up working out with Crosley, and we were really pleased because it just made a lot of sense on several fronts. So yeah, and also, you know, when we do look at partnerships with brands, we're looking at brands that we know are going to be, or we think are going to be receptive to the idea of working with an artist. But we're also looking at do they have similar demographics? Like, there quite possibly are brands. I actually think Crosley is pretty well-rounded, but there are brands like, you know, that maybe they don't fit with that type of artist. Maybe they'd be better with a country artist or a hip hop artist, or maybe they'd be better with a pop artist. But, you know, we kind of have to look at that brand's audience and say, would they be receptive to this genre of music, or is there a connection there? You know, we've done stuff with artists that are, you know, health conscious. You know, how do we do stuff with a brand that's, you know, a health conscious snack that they can take on tour with them and do some sort of cross promotional contest that way? So we're looking at all of these different qualities about the band and going, oh, that brand might be a good fit. The other thing we're looking at is, are their audiences comparable? Like, is this brand like Coca-Cola or something, or do they have this massive global following and the band is a developing artist? Obviously, there's going to be a mismatch there. So we have to make sure that we're going into something with what's the brand going to get out of it? Are they going to get something out of it besides being like, we like cool developing artists? And if they're into that, then that's also an angle. You have to kind of look at all angles.
Would you say that Crosley, because Sc Mira is kind of more, you said, indie rock. They don't have a huge fan base. What's in it for Crosley in that case?
Yeah, and so for Crosley, we know that they're champions of developing artists, and they want artists that, you know, people haven't necessarily heard of.
Right.
With them, you know, also Sc Mira being a Canadian artist, like it for them, they saw the value in their fan base being exposed to Crosley and sort of the band almost endorsing this product of saying this is a cool record player that you can play our record on. So there's kind of an audience equity exchange there of like, oh, we can reach your fan base, you can reach our fan base. We're both saying either thing is cool. You know, they both work together because the products complement one another in that way. And you know, like there are plenty of brands that we've reached out to that are maybe a stretch for the artist, and it hasn't worked out because the band isn't quite at the level that the brand needs them to be for whatever reason.
Right.
So we have to just sometimes we're aiming high and just seeing, you know, worst they can say is not at this time, you know.
Right. So when you reach out to a brand, like a brand that you don't already have a relationship with, what would kind of be the first thing you would say to them? Is it a long relationship building period for you, or how does that work?
I mean, I feel like the most of the time we end up initiating a relationship with a brand because of an artist that we have in mind for them. We have built relationships with brands where we've just said, hey, I love your product. I feel like there's something we could do together down the line. Let's stay in touch, and then done something down the line. But most of the time I feel like it's us talking to the artist and going, okay, what are you about? They fill out a brief before they start with us, and we can understand a little bit about, we ask them tons of questions about who they are, you know, trying to develop their brand identity and what partnerships might make sense, whether it's a nonprofit, whether it's a brand that we think of when you think of brands, or whether it's, you know, influencers or something like that. So we kind of start at that point of going, hey, you know, this is what we've got, this is what we'll need from you to do it, this is what you get out of it, and being very clear about how we see this playing out, obviously being flexible in that, but, you know, coming to them with a very clear idea of how it would play out and what it would be, what they'd get out of it. And then, sometimes it is quite a long time before that thing gets executed, because obviously the bigger the brand, the more full their plate is and the more agendas they have for their products. But, which is why there's kind of a sweet spot with these smaller brands. But yeah, I mean, sometimes it's just the sheer, like, you know, you have to follow up a few times to get somebody to answer because they've never talked to you before. It's just like with any cold call, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Exactly. Following up is huge. I feel like I say that a lot, but just don't email twice and then forget about it. Follow up with people.
Right, exactly. My calendar has like a special like color for just like things that I have to follow up on.
Yeah, that's actually a good idea. Okay, so we've got about 15 minutes left. So do you want to run through your Twin Peaks thing really quickly, and then we'll jump into the Q&A?
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
So Twin Peaks, the show, not the band. They're both cool. But so this was another project that we actually worked on with Rhino Records. They do a lot of reissues, but they also do a lot of soundtracks. So this was, if you guys remember the original Twin Peaks, and then recently Twin Peaks: The Return came back and was sort of the sequel series to the original Twin Peaks. And Rhino put out the soundtrack, and the way that the soundtrack was revealed was it was in real time, which was very interesting. So even when you saw like the soundtrack on DSPs on like Spotify and Amazon and stuff, it's just it said like, you know, the first track after the first episode, and then like track 2, 3, 4, 5. So it didn't even tell you what the track listing was until the episode aired, and then the band would play the song in the the lodge at the end of each show, and the band would like be in the show. So then they would like reveal what the track was. So the soundtrack was a very big integration with the show. And so Rhino hired us to generate interest about the soundtrack specifically. Because
so just to clarify, sorry, Rhino is a record label, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, they're part of the Warner Music Group, and they focus specifically on reissues and soundtracks and box sets and really cool stuff. They put out really cool.
Cool.
So yeah, and it was going to be on vinyl as well. So what we did was, if you guys has anyone seen Twin Peaks: The Return?
Not me.
It's good. David Lynch, really cool. So there's, in the original series, there were two recurring themes. It was coffee and pie. Everybody would always be like, have pie, and that was kind of a little inside joke. And the new series, the themes were coffee and donuts. So there were all these different recurring things about, I'm blanking on the actor's name, but him kind of walking into a coffee shop and complimenting their damn fine coffee. And so we kind of took that and ran with it and teamed up with coffee shops, independent coffee shops in a bunch of different markets in the US. So we did Minotti's, in Venice Beach, California. We did Birch Coffee in New York. We did all the Radio Coffee, and I want to say Austin, was that? And we basically like teamed up with each one of them to do an Instagram takeover. So Twin Peaks, basically, to the Twin Peaks soundtrack, took over their Instagram for a day. And we did a post of, we had them send us a photo of their shop so that we knew that the aesthetic fit their Instagram. And then we animated it and put one of the songs of their choice over it. So it was like a little static video. It was a video that actually moved in some way, and then this track played, and then the copy was a giveaway of winning the record on vinyl, and talking about where you could buy the soundtrack and tagging Twin Peaks, obviously. And it was really cool. And then we also did one with Voodoo Donuts, which is a massive donut shop brand here in the US. They have a shop in LA, but also Portland is their original one. And they have a huge following. So all of these people on their Instagram, they made a specific donut that was like, it was like a model after an inside joke that was on the show. It was
cool.
Like a door hanger that said "Do Not Disturb." Donut. And we put headphones on the donut and had a song playing over it. It's really cool.
Nice. That's what I love about marketing. It's just so fun. You can get so creative with it. And another point is you got to give yourself time to come up with it, right?
Yeah, we did not
Which
have
we'll talk about. Like, if you want to hire a marketing company, you got to give lead time.
The longer lead time, the better.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so with that being said, what did I want to say next? Oh, I want to jump into the Q&A. And I wanted Marni to talk about, we can talk about that after, actually. Okay, I'm going to ask 2 questions that people submitted first, and then I'll jump into the ones that are on this webinar here. And you guys can shove more questions in there if you want. If you do want to come live on camera, just keep in mind that there's other people waiting, so don't take up too much time, but we'll bring you live on camera if you want to come on and meet Marni real quick. And then everybody start putting your Instagram handles inside the thing so we can all follow each other. And we'll continue this discussion afterwards inside the forum, which I'll show you later.
I'll put mine. This is me, and then this is the Syndicate.
Doing a GoFund. Oh, okay. Oh, sorry, that's a question. Okay, I'll go back to that after, Doug. Speaking of funding stuff, our February class is actually on crowdfunding. Just so you know, it hasn't been announced yet. Okay, so the first question we had somebody ask is, are Facebook and Instagram ads relevant and useful for marketing music.
They are, yeah. We do a lot of that here because, as you probably know, well, as you know, Instagram is owned by Facebook, and as things kind of continue to move along in that direction, Instagram is becoming more and more like Facebook in terms of their algorithm, which means that, you know, if you have a brand page or in Instagram's case, a business account, your content is being seen by fewer and fewer people, which is terrible.
Mm-hmm.
And the way to get around that, because Facebook/Instagram is a business, the way to get around that is to promote, you know, use that button, that promote button, and boost your posts and make sure that more and more people are seeing it, including your own audience. So the stat kind of wavers, but the stat is generally that, at least on Facebook, it's probably more still on Instagram, but about 1 to 2% of your current followers see your posts on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a lot of people. And so you probably see this when you post something on Facebook and it's like crickets. But you probably notice that if you post something on your personal Facebook profile, that, you know, at least your mom will answer you, like somebody will respond, you know. But when you use your brand page or your band page, it's definitely challenging because it's deprioritizing band page posts, page posts. So you do have to pay to play a little bit. But I will say that you need to balance it out with really great content so that you're not just boosting promotional stuff and then people come to your page and the content is like meh, because you're doing yourself a disservice in kind of spending money to get people to your page and then not serving them anything that they might want to carry on with.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, it's a very, very important thing as a part of your overall strategy, but your overall strategy needs to, you know, have a lot of other moving parts in it, and the core of that should be really great content.
Right. We should actually host another class on Facebook and Instagram ads specifically. I'll add that into the voting poll to see if people want to do that. And also we can continue this conversation on Facebook ads in the forum. So just go to SmartistU.com, log in and click on the forum. And we can talk about it on there. Okay, second question. My artist recently asked me about getting her placement ads for her Instagram account, which is currently at 13,000 organic real followers. Wondering what the first step is here. Placement ads. Not quite sure what she means by that. Do you or he?
No. Do you mean ad, like sponsored ads, like ads that show up in people's feeds?
Placement ads for her IG. Is the person here who asked that question? I'm not quite sure what placement ads mean.
Yes.
Yes.
Aja, is that what you're saying?
Is it Aja that asked that? Do you want to come on camera and ask? Or you can type it in. Up to you. Yes, you can. Okay.
Cool.
Every class, I don't really remember how to do it. Aja, allowed to talk. Okay. And Aja, it's up to you if you want to click start video so we can see you. Otherwise, just start talking.
I think her microphone might be off. I don't know.
Hello. Can you hear us? Hold on, she said. She.
Okay.
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 Okay, she's gonna figure it out. Okay, I'm gonna go to the next question. Okay, so somebody has a question about your third eye blind. Could it have been possible or less tedious for Third Eye Blind to stream their album without a third party, i.e. Spotify?
So because we were working with the label, it probably would have, I mean, it definitely would have been tedious to stream it without a third party because you'd have to have some sort of hosting set up, some sort of distribution system. So are you asking because, like, if somebody didn't want to necessarily listen to it via Spotify?
Yeah, I'm curious to know too.
Okay.
Is it because you don't have, or you want to do it?
That you asked that question. I mean, yeah. So at the top of the microsite that we had, at the top it was we had icons that linked to all of the major DSPs. So everything, Spotify, Apple, Amazon. What am I leaving out? I think there was also a separate Amazon button to buy the physical record. So you could essentially through that page listen to it however you wanted, but we had to choose one for the integrated API little pop-up thing. And we chose Spotify because the band, you know, they like Spotify, and that's the one that we all decided to go with. But we could have probably done it with all of them. I've never actually integrated another DSP into a site like that. So we probably just would have had to work it out. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't probably advise doing it. I mean, if you do have a band that's got their songs like just on SoundCloud or something, and you wanted to just stream it through SoundCloud, you could just embed that SoundCloud streaming set, you know, so you can kind of do it however you want. This was kind of like, well, you know, we also had YouTube streaming there too. So it was kind of like, how do we want to stream this and can we monetize it, you know, depending on the band's partner status with the platform. So that was kind of our idea, is like, well, we know that we're trying to funnel as much streaming action to this one platform so that those streams add up, because as you know, that's when you actually can start monetizing, is when the streams are adding up. So we kind of like funneled it all to one place.
Mm-hmm.
Available on all of the different platforms.
Right. And actually in another one of our coaching classes, which you can go back to the one with Lindsay, we dived pretty deep into giving love to all the different platforms. So if you guys want to watch that, you can head into the green room and watch that. Okay, so I don't know what happened to Aja, but you do have more questions in here, so I will ask them for you until, if you want to come back on again. How is someone who doesn't have access to a big sponsor name do a similar campaign? I'm assuming you're talking about the Third Eye Blind one?
Or maybe the Crosley one?
Maybe Crosley? Actually, you were probably talking about Crosley at that point.
Is that was a...
I think it's probably Crosley, because then she asked, is there a monetary transaction to establish this campaign or just exposure on each end?
Yeah, no, there was no money. We don't usually do campaigns where there's money on either end. Like usually there's nothing that the band pays, and usually there's no money that the brand pays. Unless it's something like it's an actual sponsorship. We don't really call them sponsorships because they're not. We call them partnerships because we're exchanging audience exposure, not necessarily money. Mm-hmm. The band did get a record player, a branded record player, you know, and we did send vinyl to the brand, but it's not necessarily like we'll pay you this much money and you do this thing for the band, or we'll give the band some money and some stuff. In fact, sometimes, I mean, we're never going to turn down money for our bands, obviously, mm-hmm. But when we reach out to a brand and they say, oh, that's great that they love our product, we'll send them a bunch of stuff. We're like, that's great, but really what the band, you know, what we're after from the band is exposure. Mm-hmm. So like, you can send them stuff, but really what's even better is if you feature them on your Instagram, or if you know, talk about them on your blog, or if we could do some sort of cross promotional campaign where you can enter to win, you know, the vinyl and these somethings. So, you know, that's kind of where we see the value in it, especially because our job is to get out the word about this product, whether it's an album or tour or whatever. Mm-hmm. But to answer your question, if you're a developing artist, we've worked with plenty of developing artists where we've done similar things, and we start really small. We've started with local coffee shops where, you know, we had a band that had like a few hundred followers on their Instagram, and they went to this coffee shop in their neighborhood all the time before they went to the studio. And so we reached out to them about a partnership and did a little thing where they took over, you know, a day on their Instagram, and they promoted, you can win tickets to their show, and you know, kind of had this little place where they talked about the band, and the band sent a picture of them in front of the coffee shop. And, you know, it's just a nice little organic integration. It made a lot of sense because the band lived in the neighborhood. They were fans of this shop already. And the shop had, you know, just a little bit more of an audience than they did in terms of size. So it was like, okay, the coffee shop is small. They're getting exposure through the band of people that may not have ever heard of this coffee shop. And likewise for the band, people that might not have ever heard of the music. Plus they get kind of an endorsement from the coffee shop being like, these guys are cool, check them out.
Right.
So you can definitely start smaller than, a bigger.
Yeah. Start small or start with someone that has similar audience size.
Mm-hmm.
And someone who you're already a fan of, like they were already a fan of that coffee shop. So that's a good place to start too.
Exactly.
Okay, sorry, Aja. I don't know. We never heard you. Your thing disappeared up there.
Yeah, that's weird. Can you ask the question in chat? And
Usually you have to say, like click the button, like join with computer audio or join with like phone audio or something like that. But I think we answered all your questions, and then we have 3 more questions, I think. How do I get back to what Doug's question was? Okay, so Doug is managing an 18-year-old. Sorry, I'm trying to scroll back to find it. I don't know where it
in
went.
the Q&A? What happens if I click the Q&A? Oh, those are 2 other questions.
Is doing a GoFundMe or a fundraiser cheesy for a band that's an 18-year-old? Is that what you meant? I don't think doing crowdfunding is ever cheesy.
No, I mean, I think any crowdfunding campaign, it's about how you do it, and there's been some, you always do like a little video introducing the crowdfund campaign and saying, this is why I'm doing it. I mean, I think getting as creative as possible with that, or as authentic as that, being funny is always, if you're funny or if your band is funny, that's always, humor goes a long way with those kinds of things when you're asking people for money. Is this what you're talking about? A van campaign to tour their 18 just out of high school? Yeah,
Do you want to come on camera? Sorry, Doug. We could try this again. See if we can actually get someone on. Not today. Okay. That's totally cool. Okay, sorry. Continue, Marni.
I mean, I feel like there's so much that you can do there. If you're gonna, you would obviously like get it set up on a GoFundMe platform or Kickstarter or whatever you're gonna do. And then I just think there's a lot of opportunity for a video like that. Like if you took a video of them kind of like carrying all their gear and like walking down the street and being like, guys, this isn't working. We need a van. How are we going to get a van? Well, we don't have any money. Well, here, I have this much money, and like them pulling their, there's so many things that you could do with that and just be like, hey, maybe you guys can help us out. Like, this is crazy. We can't tour like this.
That's actually pretty funny.
Like I think that could be really cute, and then you can have the prizing match up to that. So if you invest $100 or $1,000 or whatever, how much money, will come play a show at your house, something like that. So I think there's definitely ways to make it cheesy, but there's definitely ways to make it cute and kind of authentic for what your brand is as a band,
Yeah, totally. And you know what you could do? I don't know if you've already done this, but go to like Kickstarter and pledge and maybe see if other people are doing fundraisers for a band specifically, or even just look at other people's to get ideas.
Yeah.
And then make it unique to yourself. Okay, sorry, I want to go back to Aja's question again, because she did it was about the placement ads.
Right, for Instagram?
So paid posts is what she was talking about.
Mm-hmm. Right, okay, so are you talking about boosted posts, or are you talking about like
if a sponsor pays you?
Oh, you mean like okay, right.
Yeah,
Okay.
influencer paid marketing.
Right, I mean, so those things come out of an artist working with, or an influencer working with a brand, so those relationships have to be established first. In this case, I guess, the band would be an influencer, and they would be paid by the brand to post something on their Instagram. I mean, we've done stuff where we've done it the other way, where we've rewarded different people that we think look like they could be fans of different bands that we've worked with, and we've said, hey, would you want to like help the band get the word out about this show or this tour or this whatever, and then we'll send them exclusive merch, or we'll do something with them and make sure that they're saying on their side that it's a sponsored post because they received product for it.
So the artist is acting as the brand.
Right.
Seeking an influencer.
Right.
I actually don't see a lot of artists do paid posts.
I don't either. I mean, there's a lot of influencer people out there that do it. I don't know. Yeah.
Like artists acting as influencers. I don't see that a lot.
I don't either. I mean, you see artists post things like when they are sponsored by somebody, like an energy drink or something, and they have to do a certain amount of posts a year or something, and sometimes they'll put hashtag ad or hashtag sponsored. It is usually hidden, but you have to actually legally say in those posts hashtag ad, hashtag sponsored, hashtag promoted, something like that.
I would just say really quickly that a lot of booking agencies now, like tour booking agents, they've now morphed their companies into influencer marketing. So if you want to contact someone or find out more information on that, you could look into those booking agencies that do it. Also, there's some online platforms like hashtag paid, it's called, where once you hit 5,000, you're just on this platform and then brands just start finding you. With the artist though, I would just be very careful about who you partner with.
I agree. Yeah. It's got to feel right.
Yeah.
Or else you might lose fans over it.
Yeah. Like I wouldn't necessarily just like start like promoting these no-name sunglasses.
Right.
Just to get $100 or something.
Yeah, you definitely have to look at the value overall of it, you know. That's why I think like the organic campaigns are a little bit better. Like, oh, I really like that brand, or I like this thing. Let me find a brand that makes this kind of thing, and then see if they would do something with me as an artist.
Yeah.
The artist is bringing something to the table as well.
Hashtag paid. Sorry, I'll just read that quickly. Okay, we have 2 more questions. And then, like I said, Marni has to get going, but we will continue the discussion in the forum. And Marni, you've seen her Instagram there. You can contact her. Where else can everybody find you, Marni? If they want to work with you or the Syndicate, how can they get in touch with you?
Yeah, if you're interested in, say, like a digital campaign or something, you can email me. My email is Marni, MARNI, @thesyn.com. I will put that in here too. If you do email me about a project, I definitely request, because I get a ton of emails, as we all do these days. Just be really, I've put in the hashtag, in the subject, SmartistU, just so I know where you're coming from and the name of your project. And then in the body of the email, just put like as much information about the project as possible, links for me, music, when the album comes out, all of this stuff, so that I can have an idea of it.
And if you have further questions for her, just put them into the forum, and we can get Marni in there, or I can ask her questions and
definitely
for you. Okay, so 2 more questions. We'll get through them real quickly. In marketing, I know that the email list is king. What's the best way or incentive to get comedy patrons to leave their email addresses after a show? This is from Nikki.
Yeah, that's, first of all, thank you for bringing that up, because email is everything. Like I said before, so you post something on Facebook and like 1 or 2% of your fans see it. Email open rates are way higher, because for a million reasons. But it still does work. So how do you build that list? I mean, I personally think that the old school way of putting a clipboard out there with a pen and, you know, a sign up sheet on your merch table is the best way. If you want to be fancy and do it with an iPad, that's totally cool. I also like the idea of putting a column for people's Instagram and Twitter handles, so that you can tweet at them and say, hey, thanks for coming to the show and stuff like that. Definitely be collecting emails. Definitely make sure that there's a part of your website that has an easy way to collect emails, a little widget there, and that you're using that you're collecting them, they're going to a place, and that you're sending out emails every so often.
And this works for not just comedy, but anything really. And in terms of after the show, if you're actually putting out the piece of paper, I would also on each paper write the city name, and then you can, when you upload those into your MailChimp or whatever, you can tag those people with that city, so that when you go back there next, you can email them specifically.
Exactly. And just, you know, even from the stage, whether you're a comedian or a band or whatever, just say, you know, hey, you know, you've been great, whatever. I'm going to be at the merch table, you know, come say hey. And that, then, you know, people are going to come over because they're going to want to talk to you. And then there's the sign up sheet right there for them to stay in touch with you. You know?
Okay, any tips for boosting visibility on YouTube?
Yeah, so YouTube, I mean, boosting visibility, first of all, the best way to use YouTube is to use it. That sounds silly, but a lot of people think like, oh, I'm just gonna put my, this one video that I made up there, and then like, I'm gonna, just put everything behind it. But the kind of creating, especially if you're serious about creating some kind of persona or visibility, like you said on YouTube, you kind of need to create a little bit of a cadence. So even if it's every month and you drop something out there, it doesn't have to be like a super highly produced video. It can be something that you're just talking to your fans. It could be an interview with your friend. It could be something like this. It could be, you covering a song in your bedroom. It could be an acoustic version of a song that you put out, a remix, whatever. It could be anything. It could be an art track to the song that you put out there, especially because YouTube is now, an audio streaming platform. They have audio and video on there, so you can do it however you feel that is easy for you to use it. But I think the most important thing with YouTube is consistently going, kind of putting stuff up there, making playlists, making sure that you're using the tags, the metadata that's available to you in YouTube. So when you upload your videos, you use the sort of tags on the back end that are relevant to you. Don't just put like whatever's trending at the moment, because YouTube doesn't like that at all. But also use that description area, so link out to where they can buy your music, where they can stream it, other places, your website, your other socials, the lyrics to your songs, who produced the song, anything that you can think of that'll kind of like make it stickier and also inform people of what you're doing. But there's also ways to promote videos on YouTube. So there's TrueView ads that you can actually promote your videos to people in different categories, and it's pretty affordable. So you can get a lot out of it that way.
And a note on the metadata is when you upload the file name, make sure the file name is also your artist's name and the name of the song or whatever the heck it is you're posting, because that counts in the search engines. TrueView, yeah. Someone wrote true. I said it out loud. Yeah. I did that to you yesterday. When you see a word and then you say it, but you don't mean to say it.
No,
I also had sorry?
It is TrueView ads.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I also had a thought actually on the comedy, getting someone to sign up for your email list. You could, until you get like a crazy amount of fans doing this, but you could say, sign up to my email list and I will send a personal joke about you or something. And send just a ridiculous joke to each person. You could also automate that and it will automatically instantly send them a joke. And artists, you could figure out a way to do that too. Sign up for my email list and I will send you something funny. And I'll write you a song.
Everybody gets the same thing.
And then you could set it up in MailChimp to have, well, obviously, because you can add people's individual names. You could write a song and just have their name in it and have it automatically send out to everyone and people will be like, oh my God, they wrote me a song, but it's the same song. Type yes if you love that idea.
I love it. I would sign up.
Okay, cool. Okay, so that is all the time we have. Marni has to get going. She's going to kill me if we keep going. But any other questions, we're going to continue them in the forum, like I said. So members log in, non-members sign up to log in. And we'll keep the conversation going. And thank you, everybody, for coming. Everybody say thank you to Marni. Follow your friends.
Let me take a little picture so that I can post this.
Woo-hoo. I probably should too. Well, I've got it on film.
Yeah, you've recorded it, so.
Okay, thanks again.
Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Jamie, for having me. This was a blast. Good to see you.
Bye, guys.